Oh, welcome back to 1 week later. It's been a while. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've done a review with you. That's why they don't pay me to sing. But welcome back, everybody. I'm Captain Joe Dove. You may recognize me from my various monikers on various different channels, but here I'm the co-host of the Disc Dungeon on To Be Seen and co-host of Trailer Fiend, all things horror. That's why I'm joined by Billy. And this week we are looking at a creepy one. That would be the Boogeyman. What did you think, real quick?
Oh, I like this. I thought it was actually one of the better Stephen King ones, and well, not counting it, of course,
Wow.
because it's the thing is like I've seen some good and I've seen some bad Stephen King.
Yeah.
I've seen the TV movie remake of The Shining with
Yeah.
Stephen Weber in place of Jack Nicholson,
Yeah.
and I've seen the TV remake of Carrie. Yes, people forget that. Yes, although there's a Chloe Grace Moretz one, there was an NBC made-for-TV remake of Carrie 2.
I don't remember that one. I'd have to go back and watch that for
No,
sure.
you don't.
No,
No, you
no.
don't.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Then I won't watch it. All right. Well, let's see who was in it. All right. This is a rising star cast. That's what I'll call it. We've got main characters Sophie Thatcher, no relation to Margaret. Chris Messina, he played Will, the dad, and then we got David Dostmakin, who he played Lester Billings, the creepy dad. Now he's got quite the resume. He was in Ant-Man. He's in quite a bit of films. So I was very surprised to see him. He was in Dark Knight. He was one of the bad guys in the cop. Then you got young Vivian Lara Blair, who I think that was Princess Leia from the Obi-Wan series.
Oh my god, that means they got two people from Star Wars in this thing. Because
Who
they
was
got the
the other one?
biker. Sophie
That's
Thatcher
right.
is the biker
Sophie Thatcher.
girl from Boba
Yeah.
Fett.
Yeah, she was the Power Ranger.
Yeah, I was like, I knew she looked familiar. I almost thought she was one of the girls from Stranger Things, and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's biker girl from Boba Fett.
Yeah. So pretty much a fun cast for sure. And it paid off. And even
I
this,
just think that Chris Messina was a little bit of a bargain bin discount version of Mark Ruffalo in this movie.
we have Mark Ruffalo at home. Okay.
Wish Mark Ruffalo.
Aw. Or wish Mark Ruffalo. But I thought it was a good flick, like hit all the right moments, hit all the right targets, and was creepy. So let's see what worked. All right, Billy, tell me what worked for you.
Well, I thought it was surprising. I thought with Stephen King, sometimes you know what you're getting, and sometimes you don't. But he's had his misses. I've seen The Dark Tower. I've seen, as I've said, I'm going back to that Carrie one that they changed the ending for NBC, where the powers came from aliens for some reason.
Yes, aliens.
And I know,
Always
we've all seen it, where okay, and now we have all these teenagers do a lot more than they probably should.
Oh yeah,
a little bit more PG and a little less 13.
Yeah. I mean, what worked for me is the brutality. You know,
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you'd normally think, oh, when they have movies where there's two kids, it's probably not going to be that violent.
Right.
No, they are violent with the little kids.
Yeah, they get jacked up, man.
The kids got messed up.
They flung her across the room into the television. Boom! Oh my god! I was waiting for Jim Ross to be like, "Goodbye, guys. That girl has a family." It was like WWE, man. It was
They
insane.
broke her in two. Oh my
Yeah.
god! It was a
She's
slobber knocker. Oh my
yeah.
god! Oh
You
my
talk about a house
god!
of fire. Speaking of house of fire, how what really worked for me was the creepy family that initially had the boogeyman with the dude from Ant-Man and Batman. That place was like messed up. I did not expect the mom to still be alive and for her to be like this crazy, almost like cracked out looking chick was dope. I thought that that was a
Yeah,
really
her.
cool. Yeah,
That was like
she was
something like that's what
memorable.
you wanted to see in Walking Dead. That was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is definitely one of the survivors.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was pretty crazy. So that's what worked. What didn't work? So it's not a gory movie, which I don't mind, but it does teeter on the thriller aspects a lot and jump scares, but it doesn't do a ton of jump scares throughout. And I think that if they just added a few more, it could have worked a little bit better. I didn't think that the overall look of the boogeyman was that great. It was like a weird puppet, you know what I mean? But it was CGI, so it was like I don't know. It kind of didn't really stick out that well for me. But what didn't work for you?
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, they kind of almost did a tribute, like a bad CGI tribute to the thing.
Right.
I was like, yeah, it kind of does look like John Carpenter's thing.
Yeah.
Oh
I
wait, but this is Stephen King.
right.
Why
Nothing to do
is
with John Carpenter.
why is your thing? I mean, your monster look derivative of somebody else's monster?
Yeah. It was very weird. Yeah,
And then
the monster didn't work out too well for me either.
yeah, and the other thing was at the end, I kind of knew what was like they were going to do that last moment thing where, oh, she hears a voice in the from the therapist office. I was like,
Mm,
oh, they're pulling a Wes Craven like Stephen King
Nightmare on
Carrie
Elm
moment.
Street. Yeah,
This is
yeah.
like the end of almost every Nightmare on Elm Street where you think like, oh, we escaped Freddy, and then all of a sudden you find out the person's still dreaming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that didn't work for me either. And I don't think that the it was necessary to try to do that jump scare because it like burned up pretty much to a crisp. And I felt like that was a good way to end it. And it's nice when things can have an overall ending and move on. I don't like the, never endings. So,
Yep.
yeah. Well, let's see how it was received. So this one actually surprised me. I was like, oh, this is probably going to be on the low end. No, it's done a lot better than a lot of other movies that came out this year. It's got a 61% positive tomato meter from 163 reviews and 500 reviews from the audience. Fresh, both ends, audience and critics. Well, I can understand why the audience gave it a good rating because it's a short story that was converted by the Nightmare Fuel master Stephen King. But um, there wasn't anything that break broke new ground here. This is you had your three B's, your boogeyman, your bitches and bullies. You know what I mean? The girls that were treating the other girl pretty horribly. Nothing happened to them. So it's like
Yeah.
one of those things where it was like, wait, they have no resolution to the little like subplot that's going on with the teenage daughter. So, that kind of bothered me. You know what I mean? Like you got your three B's, you also have like to get a little bit like payback.
Well,
That's what
Stephen King normally doesn't let the bullies get it because he tries to do it somewhat realistic, where he makes the bullies like so unlikable that you wish something would happen to them, but they never have anything happen.
I guess he's good for that.
And
Yeah.
that's what he did with Carrie. I mean, that was always like the thing. It was always
Yeah.
he always made teenage girls nightmares. They were almost worse than some of the monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like
So
they did lock her in the room and didn't even know they almost killed that girl.
yeah, that's true. What'd you think of the rating? Did you think it was going to be so high?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I thought, well, with Stephen King, it's hit or miss, and normally he gets lower in the ratings. I mean,
Yeah. and it's been a week, so it's pretty interesting.
Surprisingly, like a lot of the things he's been getting a lot of praise for has been more of his non-horror films, like when he does like uh, the Green Mile and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's or
Normally, like he does like his horror things. It's like, oh, a movie about a killer car. No.
no, yeah, like Shawshank was
Oh,
great.
a movie about a guy losing weight.
Yeah,
No.
in there. I wish I had that, and to a point though. All right, stop. Okay, good, thank
Well, just got to
you.
make sure that you hit a gypsy with your car.
No, I don't want to do
Oh crap!
that.
You know, I
You
just
kill
realized
my daughter, I curse you.
I can tell you from past experience, I just really probably got us some hate comments.
No, Jesus. Leave
Uh,
the Chippos alone. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Let's take a look at the final glance. All in all, this is a fun movie. It doesn't have as many jump scares as it should, but there is a great, solid family story wrapped up with a creature feature, and it kind of reminds you of like a long X-Files episode. But this is from the master of horror, Stephen King, so it gets the point across, and we have a lot of fun when we get rolling, so to speak. Um, I think that this is definitely worth it. It'll probably be more fun in the theater. It's not as insane as some of the other movies that you've seen with your slasher types or your monster mayhems, but I think overall, and it's really an enjoyable flick that you'll come out of it feeling pretty decent. Unlike gore features where the people just get cut up all over the place and there's little bits of people. There is some really crazy moments, especially with the crazy mom from the original family. Once the daughter figures out that this is not the first time this is happening, and she actually makes contact with this nutty woman, then things really get kicking. But overall, definitely worth it. I thought it was a money well spent. I was entertained, and I kind of hope they do some type of follow up. How about you? Final glance.
oh, yeah, I liked it too. And the thing I liked was it was actually surprisingly short. I gotta admit that. Like
Yeah,
the movie was
very
under
true.
2 hours,
Yeah,
which was good because like I was able to see it on a weeknight, like before work and stuff.
yeah.
Like it's
Hey,
like, oh, I can actually see it like right after work before having to get ready for anything else. It's not a 3 hour epic or anything like that where you're going to be like,
no,
oh, I need to see this on a weekend. You can see this any day of the week. And actually, it's kind of fun if you see it on a weekday because then you at least know, like, if you have that little scare, you're doing that while having to go home after that.
yeah, yeah. I go home to an empty house and the boogeyman himself. Well, that's gonna
I
wrap
was
it up for
actually
this.
thinking about like there's a Jim Brewer bit which was funny. Like he talked
Oh,
about getting uh, enjoying a little recreational smoke and getting paranoid that the boogeyman was in the backseat of his car chasing after him.
oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I was thinking of that while I was driving home. I was like, yeah, I don't want to get pulled over by the cop and be like, officer, I'm just trying to dodge the boogeyman.
All right, in the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of 1 week later. I'm Captain Joe Dove. Thank you for joining us. And of course, he's always
Billy.
frozen. Billy, yes. All right, well, until next time.